Okay, think about this. A talking pig who decides he wants to be a sheepdog. Sounds like a cute little kids movie, right? Well, what if I told you that very story was actually a profound, critically acclaimed classic, one that went toe-to-toe with Braveheart for Best Picture? Yeah, today we're diving into the surprisingly incredible story of the 1995 film Babe. And we have to start right here. This might just be one of the most quietly powerful lines in all of movie history. It's just 6 simple words, but they carry the entire emotional weight of the film. It's all about acceptance, about achievement, about a job well done against every single odd. And that emotional punch wasn't just felt by us in the audience. Oh no, the critics took this story incredibly seriously. Just look at this number, 7. That is how many Oscar nominations Babe got. And I'm not just talking about technical awards here. We're talking Best Director, and yes, even the big one, Best Picture. A movie about a pig who thinks he's a sheepdog was a serious contender for the highest honor in Hollywood. Just let that sink in. So where does a story like this even begin? Well, it all starts with an orphaned little piglet named Babe. He's won by a quiet, unassuming farmer, Arthur Hoggett, in a Guess the Weight contest at a local fair. I mean, from these totally humble, almost random beginnings, a legend is about to be born. So Babe gets to Hoggett's farm, and he finds himself in this whole new world with established rules and roles and a pretty unusual community. He's immediately adopted by Fly, this really motherly border collie. Then there's his friend Ferdinand, a duck, who's having this hilarious existential crisis because he doesn't want to be dinner. And he finds this unlikely wisdom from Ma, an old sheep who's really the first one to see that there's something special about this piglet. And then it happens. The spark. The one moment that changes absolutely everything. Farmer Hoggett, who up until this point probably just sees a future Christmas dinner, he witnesses something impossible. Babe, all on his own, is calmly sorting the farm's chickens by color. And in that one instant, you can just see this wild idea start to form in Hoggett's mind. He doesn't just see a pig anymore, he sees potential. And that wild idea sets up the film's central conflict, which is really a clash of 2 totally different philosophies. On one side, you've got the way of the wolf, which is what the farm's sheepdogs do. It's all about dominance, intimidation, and force. But then Babe comes along and introduces something totally radical, the way of the pig. And it's built on this simple, revolutionary idea of just asking nicely and showing a little respect. But of course, any revolutionary idea is going to be met with resistance. So now Babe has to prove that his gentle methods can actually work in a world that is often pretty harsh, dangerous, and deeply skeptical of anything new. And the obstacles, they are significant. He's facing intense jealousy from Rex, the top dog, who feels like his entire identity is being threatened. There are real-world dangers too, like sheep rustlers and a terrifying attack by some feral dogs. And, hanging over all of it is this dark secret about what pigs are really for on a farm. Babe's courage gets its true test during a brutal attack by those feral dogs. He single-handedly drives them away and saves the entire flock, but it comes at a terrible price. His friend and mentor, the wise old sheep, Ma, is fatally injured in the chaos. And what's worse, Farmer Hoggett shows up, sees the aftermath, and just assumes the worst about Babe. So Hoggett, believing Babe is to blame, almost makes this tragic mistake. But Fly, his surrogate mom, she knows better in her gut. And in this really powerful moment, she breaks all the rules and speaks directly to the sheep. And they confirm the truth. Babe is a hero. It's this amazing lesson in trusting your instincts and getting the facts. And it finally solidifies Babe's place as a protector in Hoggett's eyes. But just as everything seems to be looking up, Babe is confronted with a truth so devastating it just shatters his entire world. This is the story's emotional low point, the moment where all hope really seems lost. And the truth is delivered with this cold cruelty by Duchess, the farm's cat. For Babe, who has come to see Farmer Hoggett as this kind protector, this revelation is like a bomb that just detonates his whole reality. The ultimate purpose of his kind is to be eaten by the very beings he's trying so hard to serve. And it forces him and us to ask this devastating question. What do you do when you find out your entire world is a lie? Babe's response? He just completely shuts down. He runs away, he loses all faith, and he just stops eating. His spirit is just utterly broken. And what happens next is easily one of the most wonderfully strange and heartwarming scenes in film history. To save his pig, the stoic, silent Farmer Hoggett does the unthinkable. He throws his dignity right out the window, gets down on the floor of the barn, and he sings and dances a little jig for Babe. It's just this moment of pure, unconditional love that restores Babe's faith, not just in Hoggett, but in himself.
So, with their bond reforged and stronger than ever, Hodgett and Babe set their sights on the ultimate test, the National Sheepdog Trials. And the question is just hanging in the air. Can a pig really compete against the best trained dogs in the entire country? The final competition is just a masterclass in tension. At first, it's a total disaster. The new sheep completely ignore Babe. But then, in this amazing act of redemption, Rex races all the way back to the farm, swallows his pride, and gets a secret password from Babe's flock. He delivers it just in the nick of time, and the sheep, well, they begin to move with this flawless grace. The result? A perfect score. It stuns the judges, the crowd, everyone into a standing ovation.
So why does this story still resonate so much? Because it's so much more than just a talking animal movie. At its heart, it is the ultimate underdog story. It's about the power of kindness over force, and it celebrates the incredible courage it takes to defy the roles society gives you and find your own unique purpose in the world. And that brings us right back to where we started, with Farmer Hoggett's quiet words of praise. It's not just good job, it's the highest compliment a sheepdog, or a sheep pig, could ever hope to receive. It's this simple, profound statement of acceptance and belonging, the perfect end to a perfect performance. And that really leaves us with one last thought. The film's greatest lesson is that Babe's true strength was never in his bark or his bite, but in his polite and decent heart. And it poses a question that's just as relevant today as it was back in 1995. In a world that so often values force and aggression, how often do we underestimate the quiet, revolutionary power of simply being kind?